Hey hustlers, it's me Kenya and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So I just want to say that I do realize that I have some new subscribers. How you doing? I really enjoy uploading videos onto my YouTube channel. I wish that I could upload a video every single day, but after trading 44 hours of my life for wages every week, like I'm always so tired. So if I'm not as consistent as you would probably like me to be, please forgive me. If I skip a week, forgive me. But anyway, in this video I want to tell you how you could possibly rent an apartment. Possibly. It may not always work, but in most cases it does if you don't have a social security number. Now, number one, when I'm renting an apartment to anybody, the first thing you ask is, do you have a valid ID, 2 recent pay stubs, and they fill out the rental application, and on the application it will ask you for your social security number. And the social security number basically runs your credit. It also make sure you haven't been locked up for any heinous crimes or anything that's just absolutely crazy. And it also checks to see if you had any evictions or if you are a serial late payment type of a tenant. So it checks for those 3 things. So if you don't have a social security number, the first thing I would ask is, are you a student? Okay, so if you are a student, I would say, do you have a student visa? Sure, I have a student visa. They hand me their passports from their countries, which basically has like their visa, and they'll usually have like a form. Damn, I wish I would have got the name of the form before I started this video. I found out what form it is and I'll put it like at the bottom of this video. It's like an I something. I can't think of it offhand. But if that person is a student, then and they have no form of proof of income. If they don't have any proof of income, they're going to need a cosigner. Now the cosigner must live in the US in order to use them. You can't have a cosigner live somewhere else. It just makes no sense because that cosigner has to have a US social security number. So hey, no problem, you're a student, let me see your student visa. Alright, you have your cosigner, fill out this application, or a cosigner is also called a guarantor. So you have your guarantor fill out this application. We run the guarantors, application for the same 3 things: credit, their rental history, and criminal. And then we also take an ID from a valid ID from the guarantor, and we also take 2 recent pay stubs. Okay, so if you have all of that, you most likely will be able to rent an apartment. So the first way is if you are a student, if you are able to provide a student visa, if you are able to provide a guarantor that has a US social security number and a valid ID and 2 recent pay stubs or proof of income, any type of proof of income. Secondly, if someone comes to me, they want to rent an apartment and they don't have a social security number, the first thing I would say after are you a student is, do you have a work visa? Believe it or not, a lot of people are in this country on work visa. There's a lot of foreigners, especially in the Northeast and New Jersey, I've noticed, that are here on work visas. There's some people that come to this country and they give me their offer letters for the work and they're having like 6-figure salaries or more. And I'm just like, how sway? How? Like, I've been in this country all my life. Like, how do you get those opportunities? But that's either here nor there. So secondly, if you have a work visa, so usually people will have like their work visa, they'll give you their passport, they'll give you proof that they have their work visa, they'll either have already started working, so they'll have 2 recent pay stubs, or they have an offer letter from the company that they're working for. So if you have an offer letter from your company and you have a work visa, a lot of the times a landlord will just rent to you because you've shown that you do have money. Some other landlords might want more information from you. They may want you to get a guarantor. They may want you to put down more money on that apartment because you don't have a US social security card. Social security number, social security card, I guess is one and the same, but it just depends. Number 3, if you don't have a social security number, which this has happened to me recently, I had a gentleman come to my office who wanted to rent an apartment. And he's been working here in the US, but it's like, how do you have a job here if you don't have a social security number? Like, it was like weird. So basically he had dual citizenship. So he had a US passport. So he handed me his passport for a valid ID. So I'm like, how do you have a passport and no social security number? So he had a US passport and he had a passport from a different country. So basically one of his parents was from the US, the other parent was from a different country. So he's basically born here in New York City, and then they scooped him up and took him back to his country where he was basically raised and lived all of his life. And in order to apply for a US Social Security number, you know, he would have to go back home and get all of his school records. It was like such a hassle. So I'm like, you know what? I don't want you to have to go back home and gather all this information just to rent an apartment. So he showed me his proof of income, and you know, he had his own company. So he showed me proof of, you know, he had like a bank account with lots of money in it, just say like, you know, a few millions. And you know, he had his US passport, rented him the apartment. And let's see, so number 4, I do have a few students on the property that I work at, and of course everybody's from the continent of Asia. When I say Asia, don't just think China, think Pakistan, think India, think all of those countries, think of, you know, Syria, all the Arab countries. All the students that live on my property are from one of the countries in Asia. It's so funny. Like, it's not really funny, but it's just so interesting for me to really realize that they're all from the continent of Asia. But that don't have nothing to do with what I'm saying. That was just an observation that I just realized. So I told you guys. So anyway, a lot of the students that live on my property, they pay their rent up front for a year in cash. So they pay their rent up front for a year in cash. So that's the security deposit and plus 12 months of additional rent. And where my property, the rent started at $2,000 a month. So I would just tell them, like, if you want to rent, you have to come up with what, $26,000. I need a certified check. And they come to my office, they hand me their certified check. I say, boom, the apartment is yours. Give them the keys, and they go on their way. So those are the only ways, 4 ways that I could think of that you could possibly get an apartment without a social security number. Now, if you're here and you're undocumented, I'm sorry if you watched this whole video and I didn't help you with that, but you are undocumented. There's no way that a landlord is going to basically rent you an apartment because you need a social security number or some proof of income. And if you are undocumented, you can't really get pay stubs from your employer because you're undocumented. So it's really hard. So you're going to have to find someone of your own culture that owns properties that will be willing to rent to you. I probably shouldn't be giving you guys this advice, but that's the only thing I can tell you, is if you are here undocumented, you're going to have some type of hookup on your own. Your friend, her mom might own some properties and you may be able to rent from her. But as far as going up to a real estate agent or going to a developer's property, a big apartment community and trying to rent is probably not going to happen. So I hope that my video helped you guys out. And if you're watching this video and you have any other tips for people that may not have a social security number that want to rent an apartment, leave it in the comment section. Let them know. And yeah, that is that. And I will see you in my next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye.